Hi, my name is Ashish, and in this video we will see directing web traffic with Azure Application Gateway using Azure Portal. So we will use Azure Portal to create an application gateway, then we'll test to make it sure it works correctly. What is an application gateway? Application gateway directs application web traffic to specific resources in a backend pool. By backend pool, you mean the set of servers that are actually accepting your incoming request. Well, we assign listeners to ports, we'll create rules, add resources to a backend pool, and just to make it simple, this video will use a simple setup with a public Frontend IP, basic listener to host a single site on the application gateway, a basic request routing rule, and two virtual machines in the backend pool. I will try to create a video using Azure Application Gateway wherein I'll try to host multiple sites. That will be done later. Let me just quickly log on to the portal and take it from there. I'm logged on to the portal, and on the Azure portal from the home page, you will select create a resource. And in here, you will either select networking, and you can go for application gateway here. Click on application gateway. It will bring up the screen where it will say create application gateway. On the basics tab, we'll enter the values. So I'm going to create a new resource group. App gateway RG. Okay. Application gateway would be test app gateway. I'm gonna go with East US. Here, and the tier you would select standard V2 or whatever you feel like. I'm gonna go with standard V2 for this. Enable auto scaling, you can select yes. Minimum scale, you can go for 0. 10. Availability zone would be none. HTTP would be disabled. Right? And for Azure to communicate between the resources that we will create, it needs a virtual network. You can either create a new virtual network or use an existing one. So for this video, we will create a new virtual network at the same time that we are creating the application gateway. Application gateway instances are created in separate subnets. So we will create two subnets in this video, one for the application gateway and another for the backend servers. So those backend servers are defined as listener for the existing application gateway, but the load balancer and the backend server would be in different subnets under the same virtual network. So the option where it says virtual network, I will click on create new. It will bring me a screen to create a virtual network. I can give it a name, my VNet. And so one subnet I have is default subnet. You can rename that as well. And the address space that I'm getting by default is 10.0.0/16. You can change it as well. So I'm going to change the name of default subnet to my AG subnet so that I know this is for my application gateway. And in the second row of the subnet, we will give the name as my backend subnet. So in here, right, I will create my second subnet, my backend subnet, and I can give the range as 10.0.1.0/24. Right. This looks good. I'm going to click on OK. It will have the details. So I'm associating my AG subnet for this application gateway. Next, I'm going to click on frontends. I'm going to go with a public IP, right? And I'm making sure that it is set to public. Then we can configure the frontend IP to be public or private. It depends upon your use case. For this video, I'm going to go with the public IP. You get these options, right? So I'm going to create a new public IP. I can give it a name. I will give you my AG public IP address. Okay, next. So I do not have a backend pool yet. So on the backend tab, I'm going to click on add backend pool. So backend pool is used to route request to the backend servers that serve the request. Backend pools can be composed of NICs, virtual machine scale sets, public IPs, internal IPs, FQDN, and multi-tenant backends like Azure App Service. In this video, we will create an empty backend pool with the application gateway and then add backend targets to the backend pool. So I can give it a name. I can click on add backend pool. I can type in my backend pool. Right? Add backend pool without targets. I'm going to go with yes for now. And I'm going to click on add. You see there are 0 targets. Configuration. So under configuration, we'll connect the front-end and backend pool we created using a routing rule. So we will select add a rule in the routing rules here. It will bring up a screen. So I'm going to go with the name of my routing rule. The listener name, I can go with my listener. Front-end IP, the one that I created, public. Protocol would be HTTP. Port is 80. I'm going it with the default options. I click on backend targets tab now. Here, the target type is backend pool. Backend target. And you see for the HTTP settings, I'm going to click on add new. And the HTTP, the HTTP setting will determine the behavior of the routing rule. So in the add an HTTP settings window that opens, I will enter the name. It will be my HTTP setting. For the HTTP setting name and 80 for the backend port, the port number. I'm going to accept the default values for the other settings in this window, and I will click on add. So it will bring me to the routing rule window, and I click on add here. Add here. So now I have a routing rule defined. Now I will go tags, view create. And I'm going to click on create. Now it will take several minutes for Azure to create the application gateway. We'll have to wait until the deployment is completed. And after that, we will add the backend target. So we'll use virtual machines as the target backend. We can either use existing virtual machine or create new ones. So I will create 2 virtual machines as backend service for the application gateway. So this is all for this video, and I will see you guys in the next video wherein we will add the backend targets. Thank you. Have a great day.